Engaging the back muscles can be difficult. This is something that lots of people hope or want to do, but it can be very challenging. I have even heard professionals say that using the back muscles is a myth, and that we don't actually use those muscles much when playing the cello. This speaks to just how difficult it is, that actual professional cellists believe we aren't really using them. I can tell you that enough people were saying it, so I believed it to be true, and now I can share my own experience of finally engaging those muscles. It is a muscle group that we use a lot, but aren't necessarily always aware that we are using it or able to actually feel very consciously while we are using them. That's why it's challenging to believe that they are being used at all. One thing I will tell you is that I have had a lot more success lately with engaging those muscles using something a little different that you may not hear anywhere else, so stick around for that. First though, let me give you the rundown of the big points to remember when engaging your back muscles. And all of them in one way or another include not tensing up and overusing your neck muscles. You must do whatever you know to do or can do to relax this whole area of your neck, head, and face, and being really proactive to monitor those areas for tension while you play. And yes, I did say face. It's an important part to pay attention to when it comes to dealing with excessive and dangerous tension. The first and most common point to remember is to relax the shoulders. If you have ever worked out your lat muscles and think about that motion, the instruction usually always includes to pinch your shoulder blades down and back, which includes your shoulders. The reason for this is that when you raise your shoulders, you disengage your back muscles and end up tensing your trapezius muscle and overusing those instead. The second thing to remember is to move. Literally moving while we're playing. We can get so hyper-focused on what we are doing and so focused on playing the notes that we forget to move our core, which is a huge part of playing the notes. Movement helps us relax and open up and definitely helps us engage our back muscles. It also helps us sound a lot better, which will always make us happy and more relaxed if nothing else. Another thing is remember to breathe. I know that seems to be overstating the obvious. Of course, we are breathing, but if engaging the back is a problem, you may not be breathing properly while you are playing, meaning your breathing is very shallow. I know I am very guilty of this one when I get really tensed up and really focused in that not great way, and my playing and my breathing gets really shallow and irregular. To relax, you need to breathe at least normally. It stands to reason. Your muscles need oxygen to function normally and certainly need oxygen to relax. The last basic thing to know is that flexibility and range of motion are both a major part of getting the back muscles engaged when playing the cello. To relax the shoulders to get everything to move and settle to the right position to engage the back muscles, you must first have the ability to get them there in the first place. Stretching, strength training, etc. are an important part of this, but make sure you consult your doctor or other training expert before you start an exercise regimen. Before we get into the different thing I mentioned that you may not hear anywhere else, if you are liking this video and getting some good stuff out of it, please hit the like button for me and consider subscribing for more videos on cello playing just like this one. Now, the different thing I mentioned you may not hear anywhere else has to do with proactive versus reactive play. The practical part of this is that we tense up our neck when we react, or we raise our shoulders, and both of these disengage the back muscles. You have to keep your neck and shoulders relaxed. You have to keep them down, and keeping them down is key to engaging the back muscles. In order to not react, we must be proactive about what we want, which means setting goals and also being proactive about looking for the tension in our neck, head, shoulders, and face. If you're having trouble engaging those large muscle groups of the back, the tension is there somewhere in your body. You just have to be on the lookout for it. The other key to not reacting is to, well, not react. I know that is a shocking revelation, but let me explain because it's not as easy as you think. You see, there are so many things, so many muscle movements and physical sensations and emotions that are going on while we are playing, and it's hard to be aware of all of it, of all of them, all these muscle movements, all the tensions that might be created. We have to prioritize then the focus of our senses, our awareness, and the intake of that sensory information, because there's a lot of it going on. This is what forms the habit. The tension part goes on undetected. We don't know we are doing it or even to look for it in the first place. So realize that it is probably there and make yourself aware. But you are not done yet. To really break the tension habit, you have to treat it just like your intonation or any other aspect you are trying to improve. You must proactively focus on what you want as you are moving into the next thing or a particular passage. You must proactively imagine moving with a relaxed motion, landing in a relaxed position. Execution of the motion without excessive tension has to be the goal. Being proactive, not reacting, landing or executing motions in a relaxed way is all a part of it. Once you begin to do this consistently, moving in and out of notes in a relaxed way, you will start to notice that you're using your back muscles more and more. Now, an interesting aspect of my own experience with learning to not react and getting more engagement in my back is that as I begin to be more spatially aware, I feel my back muscles getting more involved. I don't have a full explanation for this yet. Forgive me if it sounds a little out there. It's 100% true though. I have felt it. Yes, spatial awareness is actually a big part of this. I have a little theory about this aspect that goes something like this. That when we are not correctly aware of the space around us, not aware of the space between our ears and the sound source, not aware of the space between our listening and the hands that are producing the sound, we are listening to, well, anything and everything. We are listening to our hands, we're listening to our arms or the bow, etc., etc. The list goes on. It all gets jumbled up together in our brains in a clump, and so our brains process it like a clump. But when we are aware of the separation of these things, the space between them, then we can start to process them separately and evaluate them separately, which is really important to making progress. Pinpointing exactly the thing that you want to change, that you want to do differently next time. This is what being proactive is all about. Okay, this last part was just a little extra something from my own theoretical realm of cello playing. I believe in it wholeheartedly, don't get me wrong, but just an asterisk here, a little addendum to say, even if you don't buy this last part, the rest of what I have said earlier is very traditional and solid. If you tense up, if you raise your shoulders, you will have a difficult time using your large back muscles. If tension is something that you are working on in general and need to focus on loosen up your hands or anything else, I have a whole playlist all about that stuff, and you can watch it right here.